There, can you see me all right?
Yes, I can see good, Jake. How are you
All
today?
right. I'm well. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Jake. So, how's the
That's
day
good to
so
hear.
far?
Just getting started.
Awesome, awesome,
It's
awesome.
just getting started. Yeah, I'm playing like 10 to 2 every night on Broadway in Nashville.
Wow.
So it's just work, work, work all the time. And it's very little time to sleep. So I'm pretty much become a vampire these days.
Interesting to hear that.
Yeah, right.
So Jake, can you tell me, you are supposed to release an album later this year. So, how is the work going on with the album?
It's great. We're in the process of remastering the album on top of adding a new song on top of it as well. And it's just sounding vicious. This new song is very, very vicious. And we're hoping to do almost like a bonus track thing because we're giving this album the true treatment that it deserves and getting it out there. So we're excited. We're more than excited.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So, Jake, can you tell me a bit about how the band started and how you guys all got together?
When I first moved to Nashville, I was trying to follow the steps of my dad's career with the whole Bon Jovi thing.
Mhm,
I was doing like pop rock stuff, and it was fun. We did several shows opening for Bon Jovi. We've done
mhm,
Kiss cruises and stuff, and it was fun. But there was something missing. And after working with Desmond Child for a little while, he was telling me I should go a little heavier and more industrial and darker. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this path. I want to try this path, and I started going heavier, started writing more,
mhm.
writing heavier, and I was like, I can do this. I know I can do this. And I wrote the album The Odium Opera within about a year and a half's time. And my I dare say it's my masterpiece. It's my favorite thing I've written yet. As we're even getting heavier, and I'm realizing now that my voice can handle doing the aggressive vocals better than just regular singing, period, which is really weird.
Mhm.
That shredding your voice is for me healthier and easier than just singing, which is really bizarre. But it's it's going great, and I've had a lot of players coming in and out of the band just from being in Nashville. Some guy gets another gig somewhere else, or a guy has something going on over here, or he gets a job offer he just couldn't refuse. So I'm like, it's a revolving door of players,
Mhm.
but I'm finding people that are dedicated and get the whole what it means to be in a band and the whole dedication and imagery for a said band. So it's great.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And the hot news lately is like you owing Ted Bundy's smoking stuff. So, how did you get that stuff, and what do you feel about that?
So my mom used to work at an antique shop
Mhm,
in Salt Lake City, Utah. And this guy kept coming in. It's the American Rust Company. That was the name of the company in Salt Lake. And this guy kept coming in saying that he owns one of Ted Bundy's houses he used to live in. And during the renovation, because he's a landlord, so during the renovation, they found this pipe hidden in the walls, and just they found one piece. They were like, "Stop everything! You have to find the rest of this piece because it's obviously a pipe." So they found the rest of it. I got wind of it, and I was like gonna buy it one time. I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that right now. But then a time came later on where I was like, I need to buy this for some reason. Like something's telling me to buy this. So I bought it, brought it into my home. It was cool. People wanted to check it out. They wanted to look at it. They wanted to see it, touch it. The people were saying they could smoke out of it. And I was like, no, you cannot. It's been sitting in drywall and fiberglass for how many years? Like it's been hidden. So we're not going to be smoking out of it because obvious health reasons.
yes.
And when I first got it, how I felt about it, it was like a cool piece. I felt kind of like this edgy. I was like, this is so edgy and cool. Like I love this. This is just I'm manifesting this collection of oddities. And like right in this one corner, I had a jar of sand from Normandy Beach, which D-Day, And then I had the pipe that belonged to Ted Bundy and a vintage Ouija board all sitting together along with my collection of books about the occult. So it was just a stack of energy. It was very heavy and thick, but that piece was so malevolent. It was so malevolent and so heavy. And at first it was fine, but then things started happening and I was like, this is becoming an issue. And I the first thing that happened, like besides just energy being in the room, but I always just try to talk myself down. I'm like, all right, there's energy in the room from having there's a piece that belonged to a serial killer. Just let it go. It's in your head. Just let it go. Just drop it. Let it go. Move on. It's nothing. Just let it. It's just your imagination. But then when you see a full body apparition peeking around a corner,
Yeah.
and you grab a kitchen knife for fear that there's someone in your house, but there's no one there, that's when that's just when it started hitting the fan. And I was like, all right, this is real. And it only got worse from there. And how I feel about it now, I'm happy that it's locked away in a safety deposit box. That's how I feel about it.
So you went through a lot of haunting things around you, some evil spirits and stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely. It was almost constant.
Wow, that is
It was,
something.
yeah,
And
it was something else.
and how did you mentally came out of this thing? Like it should be haunting you for days and days. And how did you come out of it?
I think there's really no coming out of it. It's uh I think the best thing I could have done for myself was just getting it out of the house. I mean, spending the little amount of money for a safety deposit box was so I can get some sleep at night. That was everything. It's still residual. It's kind of like um the best way to describe it is like going back into a room where something traumatic happened, like seeing your parents in an argument or seeing someone get in a fist fight. You never forget that spot with that moment. And that's how this place feels. But I keep just putting, my music career in the forefront, and just even redesigning the apartment, just moving things around and making it feel a little different has been making it feel better. So it's not as traumatizing, because it is traumatizing looking at a door, going to bed and
Yeah,
looking at a door that once slammed behind you on its own. It's that part's hard, but then I just keep remembering. I look over at. I don't try to see the door. I try to see the music equipment or the good memories. That's the only
yeah.
that's the difference. Is just seeing that difference. So that's that.
Yeah,
It's heavy.
I understand. And
Yeah, it's heavy.
yeah, and just after you moved to Nashville, like you stated, like you went through a lot of loneliness and you felt down and things, and you converted them all into music. So music was the one which helped you out. So how do you feel now? How do you feel? Have you feel like you're better now? You feel all right? You're good and back on the spirits?
I think I've never felt better. I've never felt more authentic. I've never felt happier as a musician, as a son, as a friend. I've never felt better, because I feel like this pandemic showed me. I think it was a kick in the ass to show how valuable and fragile life is, and never to take it for granted. So not a day goes by where I take anything for granted, and I feel better. And just things kind of iron themselves out, moving into a new
Yeah,
city and trying things, and then kind of building this fantasy in your head. And when you see it get shot in the ass, it's heartbreaking. And there was a lot of dark times, my grandfather passing away when I was alone, uh, being, in relationships that were just extremely toxic, and overindulging in certain things. And then uh, Bundy on top of that. There's been a
yeah,
lot of weird darkness happening in this place, but I just realized that's life. I think uh I think that running from events and places is not healthy. I'm more of a person that likes to grab it and stranglehold it.
Sounds
So
good.
it's healthier. It's healthier versus than just running away.
Yeah, sounds good. And
Yep.
when did music really started in your life?
Day one.
Day one.
Day one.
Oh,
When I was a kid, I was fascinated with Kiss and horror movies. So they all kind of manifested as I grew up. It just all worked out. And my mom and my dad went to a Kiss concert. They brought back Paul Stanley's guitar because he smashed it, gave it to my parents. And I looked at it my whole life and I was like, that's so cool. What is this thing? And then I became obsessed with Kiss. And that was when I was like 4 years old. So I have always loved music. I've always loved from just day one. I started officially learning to play when I was like 7 years old. I picked up it was a black Gibson SG,
mhm.
and I played it all the time. I played it constantly. And then I just kept playing and playing and playing, started gigging when I was 13, and I never looked back. It's all I want to do. Anything else is just a waste of time for me. I have to play.
Awesome.
I have to play.
Yes.
It's a shark mentality. If I stop, I die.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And you have performed with some of the bigger names in the rock industry, like people like Bon Jovi, Rat, Blue Oyster Cult, and all these great bands you have played along. So how was the feeling when you're playing together with them?
Being on the same roster is really cool. Like getting a call from a friend to say, "Hey, we want to open for Blue Oyster Cult." You're like, "Oh my god, yeah, I love Blue Oyster Cult." Um, I think the biggest calls, doing the Kiss cruises were always that was great because it's opening for my heroes, and to see my name printed on the back of a T-shirt that says Kiss, it's like, oh my god, that's amazing. Um, but the Bon Jovi stuff, like being on the same, sharing that stage is amazing. And you have 20 minutes to dazzle a crowd, but then you think, what are you going to do when you get up there? And then when your boots hit the stage, you just say, fuck it, I'm going to have fun. And that's all you should do. It's like with life, just have fun, just do it.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's a great feeling, and I'm hoping in the near future with this heavier, darker sound
Yeah.
that we'll be opening for people more in our genre, like Cradle of Filth,
Yeah.
Slipknot, Ghost, Gojira, bands of that artist or bands of that caliber. And that's the next goal. We want to get in that circle and befriend the metal scene.
Awesome, awesome. So, what would be your like? Are you gonna stick to a single genre, or are you gonna be experimenting more into extreme metal and all those stuffs?
I don't think so because my style is a strange combination of like industrial metal and dare say like uh emo rock. So stuff like My Chemical Romance, All American Rejects, Green Day,
Yeah,
that rubs off well with the style of music that I write, which is, this mixture of like doom and industrial metal. So you have like the doom metal, which is like Black Sabbath,
yeah,
Ghost, stuff like that. Then you have the industrial, which is, the influences of Rammstein, Rob
yeah,
Zombie, Marilyn Manson. And I think there will be different flavors of songs, but I think the genre will remain being heavier. I think we'll always be experimenting with sounds and
yeah,
layering and just texture of the song, but it's going to be industrial metal because we look at bands like Black Sabbath and sometimes they sing NIB or Iron Man or Paranoid, but then they close with changes.
yeah,
Alice Cooper has Only Women Bleed,
yeah,
Kiss has Beth. There always has to be the vulnerability. You can't be one speed all the time. I think it's
yeah,
boring. Like I don't want to go to a show and just see like the same songs over and over and over and over and over again.
yeah,
I want to have it's theater. It's like an opera, it's story. I think having the same sound over and over again is no story. It's just the same sound. I think it's boring. But so to answer your question, yeah, it's gonna be the same genre, but each song will have its own personality.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
And can you tell me some of the greatest moments that has happened over to you in the last since you started the band and playing music?
I think it was the moments as far as discovering the self. I think it was one of the best moments was realizing I can do this, that I can do this style of music, and discovering this is what I want to do, and even discovering the niche, discovering like a marketing plan, or discovering just that kind of thing is very exciting. As far as an event, uh God, I mean, there was some times on the Kiss Cruise, like I did a show on Kiss Cruise. It was Kiss Cruise 7, I believe, and we were closing the night with Surrender by Cheap Trick.
Mhm.
So we were still doing the pop rock stuff. We also did Square Hammer by Ghost, and it was in the middle of the day. It was like the last day on the boat. The room is full of people. We're just partying our asses off. Great show, fantastic show. We tear down, and we're sitting in the cigar lounge, and George Lopez walks in and he starts hanging out with us. And I was just like, George Lopez, what the hell, really? And then honestly, I think the most musically orgasmic moment was opening for Bon Jovi in my hometown of Salt Lake City, where everyone was holding up their lighters. They were responsive. They were so much fun, and they just ate us up. They loved it. Every inch of it. They loved it. It was religious. It was amazing. That was a full circle moment. It was amazing. It was unbelievable.
So, your stepdad is the basis for Bon Jovi, and how was it like playing along with your stepdad?
Um, it's kind of funny. It's funny because I've always said that I've wanted my own dressing room, but then when it happens, you're like, "Hey, we're neighbors. How are you?" You know, and it's funny. You know, Bon Jovi taught me a lot about how to run a business, because at the end of the day, this is a business.
Yeah.
And showed me how to just keep it together, and even just writing the song. And it's been a wonderful life. It's been just I've learned the good, the bad, the ugly, but it all comes down to those moments on stage with 18,000 screaming people, which is there's no drug on the planet that can copy that feeling. Not even close.
Absolutely.
It was
And
euphoric.
and how was the touring experience that you have felt over the years?
Touring with KillJoys or with Bon Jovi?
With KillJoys.
Touring has been very sporadic. It's been always just kind of like one-off stuff. We always usually just go up to do like a weekend warrior thing and come back. Our biggest thing lately is touring just around Nashville, because with Nashville being the center of all these cities like Memphis, Atlanta, New Orleans, then you have Alabama, Kentucky, Chicago. There's all these things that are within like an 8-hour drive. So you can book a 10-date run, and your car's barely gonna have any mileage on it, because it's just all these cities are within reach. So the touring experiences have been good. We've flown, we've drove, we've done everything to get to a gig. But we're hoping within the near future to start doing just more road dates, because we're ready to go. We want to, especially during Halloween, because that's obviously with Halloween coming up, you want to fill up those dates. And we're excited, especially with this new album. We want to do something nasty. We want to make this worth our while.
Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. And
Yeah.
what would be the type of lyrics that you're going to give in the album? Like, do you have kind of concept that you keep on, or it's just random songwriting that you do?
So this album, the Odium Opera that we're re-releasing, is going to be it is a concept album. And it's simply about this character. It's a reflection of my life that I, of course, made more dramatic
Mhm.
and theatrical for the sake of music. It's theatrical. This person is in a very toxic relationship, says, I'm done with this, realizes they become angry. The monster comes forth. They try to burn down this toxic person's house with them in it. He runs off and is like, oh, I got this high. I'm a bloodthirsty killer. And then, but he becomes the very thing he set out to destroy, which was toxicity. And he gets picked apart by the vultures, metaphorically and literally. Is taken to a hospital where he realizes the faulty of his ways and says, I don't want to die. I don't want to be this way. Basically, he got slapped in the face of the fragility of life. Meets other people like him, the Lost Boys, who are just like him and share the same anxieties and depressions and feelings. Then he goes back to this lover saying, I want to be with you, and I want to make this work. And they say, no, I don't want to be with you. And he has this moment of closure, like, it's a shame. It is what it is. It's not for me, whatever, just moving on. But I didn't feel happy with that ending. So I was like, what would Alice Cooper do with this? And basically he goes back into the person's house and finishes the job, with the closing line of the album being, if I can't have you, then nobody can.
That's interesting. That's so. Will Alice Cooper be featured on this thing?
No.
No.
No. I wish, but no. I think of course it's Alice. We'd love to do something with Alice, but just a matter of time, need, and place. We don't want to shoot our shot with Alice just yet. We want to make sure it's worth everyone's time. For future songwriting, though, some of the new songs I'm writing, it's gonna be a little bit more sporadic. Instead of more of like a concept story front to back, it's gonna be more of a theme. So the next theme of songs is gonna be off of the pandemic. And things that I'm writing a song about sleep paralysis. I'm writing one about just being alone in a setting, and being just stuck in a house, and you're losing your mind. I have just some weird themes. Also, I spent the pandemic doing a mental health journey, went to therapy, and kind of got my act together, and that's going to be a theme of it as well. And I'm working on a song that is going to be the title of the album, and it's just, I would dare say it borders Slipknot heavy. It's in that realm. It is a very, very heavy song, but it also has a very anthemic chorus. So the songwriting is exciting. The new stuff it's violent. Oh my God, it's violent. I'm excited. I'm giddy.
Can't wait to hear that.
I'm feeling maniacal and evil when I write these new songs. I'm like, oh my God, this is dark. I love it.
Can't wait to hear the album in its entirety. And since you have a storyline and you have an amazing story to come around it, so do you have any plans to make it like the movie that Pink Floyd made with The Wall, something like that? Do you want to create some kind of movie kind of thing along with that?
Yes, I do want to. I always think, like, how could this be represented in a physical manner? I've often thought too, this, if Odium Opera was to become a movie, how would we do it? And I think the best way we would do it is if we did a kind of like The Wall, something like that, or some kind of, or like even like Yellow Submarine. Kind of bring back that classic 70s rock opera appreciation and that love, because I mean, my generation loves rock operas, ever since my generation had American Idiot and The Black Parade, but they never really did film adaptations of that. They just did music videos. If I was to do a movie, I'd want it to be very dark. I'd want it to be perfect to the story. I'd want it to be to reflect my life at that time. Like at the time I was writing Odium Opera, I was working at a sex shop in Nashville. So that'd have to be in the story. I'd want to really make it as authentic as I possibly could, on top of adding songs that are that were there during the time. So like during the time of this depression and this feeling and this anxiety, I was listening to a lot of Ghost and Typo Negative, Slipknot, Marilyn Manson. Those songs would have to be in the soundtrack as well for compliment and nod to the inspiration. So it's not just a show of it's the me story. I want it to be like a fan could buy this soundtrack from the movie and be like, oh my God, it's got the album and it has Typo Negative and it has Slipknot. It's like, that's the kind of thing I'd want, because I'm a fan of these bands as well. So it's like, why not make it, do something for the fans? But again, the movie would have to have the right budget, the right people, and the right crew behind it. Because I've never made a movie before. I've only done music videos. So I wouldn't just do it willy-nilly out of the sake of doing it. It would be very methodical. But yes, I want this to happen.
Sounds good. And
yeah,
in future, if you want to do some kind of collaboration with another band or a member of the band, who would that be?
ooh, within my genre?
Yes, like any kind of collaboration that you really want to do a collaboration with in the future along with the band.
I would love to do something. All my heroes are dead. That's the only problem. Definitely Alice Cooper. I'd love to do something with Alice or Ozzy. Honestly, the one that stands out the most to me is Rob Halford.
Wow.
From being the reason I say that is because being a gay artist in Nashville, he gets that, especially because he paved the way. He paved the way for people like me. He's the only other real, there's obviously other rock gay artists, but he's the one you really think of in the rock world besides Freddie Mercury. Rob being, of course, more metal than Freddie. But I would love to do something with Rob Halford. Just me and him do a song together would be amazing. And I'd want to do a story that talks about being gay and dealing with life as a gay singer or whatever, and I may have the song for that. I don't know. We'll see. But that's something I would like to strive for, is getting something going with Rob, because he's the fucking man. He is the shit.
Absolutely. And going forward from this upcoming album, what would be your next plans?
I think the next immediate steps are to obviously re-release the album, give it the love it deserves. We have intentions of doing vinyl, which is, again, something for the fans. We want to do a really cool vinyl package for the fans. I think the biggest thing for us right now is honestly just getting our show together. Because right now we're playing small clubs in Nashville. We want to build this reputation and this residency and be bigger than life. And we want to get on a bigger stage with our artwork, with our production, with our everything, and make something that when people come to Nashville, if you look at, like, I want to make something, at least here, until we hit the road, doing a residency where people look up like TripAdvisor and it's like top 10 things to do in Nashville. And on there it says, if you're a rock fan, go check out Jake J and the KillJoys. Because no one in Nashville is really doing what we're doing. If any. I mean, there's a handful of bands that do metal, but not as consistent and not on this basis like we are. Because everyone here, Nashville has a lot of like singer-songwriter types, a lot of pop rock types, and of course country music. There's a great rock scene here, but the metal scene it's small, but it's there. The fans are there. That's the thing. The fans are here. It's just the musicians, So we're trying to build something here, and already it's working. We have a great local following.
Mhm.
and it's only going to get bigger, better, nastier, darker, heavier. It's just all the sugar and spice just thousandfold as we get just better and better and better and better.
Sounds good. So you're going to make a big change to the metal scene in Nashville, Tennessee. So that is something really nice to hear.
Well, it's funny too because we play on Broadway, which is like the strip of bars,
Yeah.
Lower Broadway, where you have like Tootsie's and Honky Tonk Central and the Stage, Legends Corner, where it's all these places where people, like Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash cut their teeth, and they're still playing those songs to this day. But across the street, you hear Rammstein, Slipknot, Fear Factory, Korn, Typo Negative, and you're like, who is that? It's like, oh, it's Jake J and the Killjoys. That's them. And it's like, again, it goes back to being a rebel. I wouldn't be happy just playing the same songs across the street. Even if I did them good, I wouldn't be happy. I'd rather do something that's a bigger risk and being just a knife in the side and being something you will never forget, because you have to stand out. That's the only way you're going to win in this city. So, yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. And how is the reach of your music in the United States and in around the world?
The reach has been good. I think it's getting better now that we have Michael Brandvold on board,
Yeah.
and which has been fantastic. He's the man. There's not enough words to describe how much I appreciate, value, and admire that man. He has helped so much, and I think the reach is going to get bigger and better as, because for a long time I was managing this myself, and it took kind of getting a slap in the face and realizing it's time to take this serious. It's time to take this serious and do it, and to post and to do these things that you're supposed to do on a different kind of basis. It's more than just posting with hashtags. There's so much to it. It's more than an art form. It's just, I don't know how to describe it. There's something magic about getting that draw and getting people to see you. I don't know how to describe it. It's weird, but that's just me. I'm also weird too, but the draw, it's good. I definitely think we're more popular in the United States. I think we would love to get over to Europe. We'd love to do something in Germany, France, the UK, even South America. We have some reach there.
Yeah.
Also Canada. We'd love to do. We're pretty much available. We want to do these places, and they're within our grasp of performing. But I think it just comes down to the time. It's like we're not gonna. It's not feasible and reasonable to fly all the way out to Germany when there's no supporting tour, no supporting album, no supporting anything behind it. Just for this, there's no such thing as doing it just to do it. There's a reason behind everything. So I think it just comes down to when the time is right, we will do it.
Absolutely.
It's just simply that. Just when the time is right, we will do it.
And do you have the confidence and the thing inside of you that you can be the next big metal scene from the United States?
I think so, because I'm not really seeing. I think the world and the United States is especially it needs another Marilyn Manson. It needs another Rammstein. It needs, because look at it this way. I come from an era where I was taught more about how to hide from a school shooter than how to do my taxes. So that anger and that frustration manifests into the current world, where I think that style of music of Manson and Rob Zombie, Rammstein, Nine Inch Nails, it all comes forward, and of just speaking to the kids that are frustrated. And I think just America just needs another villain. Who better?
That's nice. Nice to hear.
That's the goal, is just to be the next villain.
Sounds good.
You never forget villains.
Yeah, sounds good. And possibly, like, you might be helping somebody to make a movie with your smoking pipe of Ted Bundy someday, I believe.
I hope so. I hope so. That now is just getting it into the hands of someone else. Frankly, we've been trying that for a little while here, just figuring out what's the best way to go about it. You know, we're not just gonna do it willy-nilly. But I get daily offers for it. Daily. Not even, it's daily stuff. People asking to smoke out of it. How much do you want for it? But then, you know, you tell them the value of murderabilia, and all of a sudden it becomes, whoa, that's out of my price range. And I'm like, yeah, well, what do you expect? It's a piece owned by a serial killer. It's not going to be chump change cheap. It's kind of, it's an arm and a leg. Literally, it's the price of an arm and a leg.
Yeah. And Jake, and thank you so much for your time today. And what would be the message for your fans and the people who are going to listen to you in the near future?
I think every single fan that supported us along the way and has seen me grow up and find my voice. It's been a long and kind of a confusing, dark, heavy journey, but all I can say is that you're about to see the most authentic, aggressive music that I've ever recorded and that the world needs right now.
Sounds good.
Get ready.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate you having me here. This has been great.
Thanks to you. Like, it's so amazing to talk to you and discuss a lot of things today. And I wish you and the band all the best. And I want to see you guys going way top in the ladder. I want to see all great things coming from you guys. And I wish you all the best.
I appreciate that, man. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too, Jake. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye, man.
Bye.
Bye.